and hit record. And I just want to welcome you all here to our team call. Tonight we have, we're lucky enough to have Justin Wells, who won $100,000, and Carmen, what was Carmen's last name?
O'Quinn.
O'Quinn, yes. Carmen O'Quinn, who also won the $100,000 for our female. Justin's on our team, and we also have Cory, his coach, on our team, so we can get both of them to, talk and tell us how they did it. And we can ask some questions. But first, I just wanted to, let you guys know, if you didn't see, I'm sure you have, about the health bet that's going on, right? Or is getting ready to start on September 5th. Hopefully you guys, yeah, Angela's got it there. Hopefully you guys are feedback from somebody. So hopefully you guys are pitching that to your customers. You're telling them about it. I mean, Beachbody, this is the first time Beachbody's done it. They're giving away between $1 million and $3 million. Yeah, just look at Angela's screen there. Starts, yes. Yes, starts September 5th through October 2nd. Basically, I have started a group for Team Engage, which you guys are welcome to use. You're welcome to invite your customers to. Or, if you have enough to run your own, start your own challenge tracker. If you have enough customers that you can invite and get a good group going, I definitely encourage you to do that. It'll definitely help you learn the My Challenge Tracker app. But the cool thing about it is people have to post, 3 times a week, a workout, and 5 times a week, a Shakeology picture. Yeah, Angela's got it there. Yeah, 5 Shakeology photos. So that means if people don't have Shakeology, in order to win this, they're going to have to get it from you, right? So they need it by the 5th. So you really can't wait. You need to get people to order as soon as possible. Get them, to order a challenge pack or get Shakeology again. Reach out to your coaches if you have discount coaches and stuff. This is a perfect opportunity. It's not like you're entered to win. It's like a diet bet challenge where everyone is going to win. All you have to do is, commit to posting in the app, right, every single day, or at least 5 times in the week, right, 5 days in the week. You're going to get a share of this, potential $3 million pot. Okay, so 100, you could do the math. It depends on how many people join, but it's definitely something that we should all get involved in, get our customers involved in. It's something to get excited about. It's something to get people re-engaged with. All right. So I just definitely want to let you guys know that in the Engage group, I had posted a link. If you want to join the Team Engage one, it'll hold up to 250 people. And I think only maybe 50 people have joined so far. So we still have plenty of room in that group if you guys want to join that group with me. Okay, so that's it for the announcements right now. Let's see. Why don't we start with Justin, since Carmen's still working out. Or did you get it fixed, Carmen?
I think I'm good.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, then we'll start with you, Carmen. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your story and like where you started? And, a lot of people may not have seen your video or your story. So just tell us about how you got started and what you did and what are you doing now,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you for having me on your team call tonight. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. So I've kind of always been overweight most of my life. The smallest size I can ever remember being would be in like 7th grade. I remember being the size 7. And after that, after leaving high school, I just continually gained weight little by little, year by year. Sizes crept up, weight crept up, as you can imagine. And I found myself at 208 pounds, morbidly obese. I didn't own a scale for most of my adult life because I knew I was overweight, so I just kind of avoided the scale. And, you know, I just kind of made excuses. I was in a size 22, 24, and I had a goal for a lot of years that someday I was going to get back into a bikini. And I would write that down on my goal list. I would, you know, start my New Year's resolutions. But I didn't have a plan to run on. I didn't know a lot about nutrition. I stayed away from the gym because at 288 pounds, I was afraid of being judged. Of course, someone that has size going to the gym looks a little bit funny on exercise equipment. So I had met my coach and I had heard his story, and he talked about how he was like this really big guy and he got started with P90X. And I had seen the infomercials for P90X. I had seen the advertisements, but in my mind, P90X was for someone who was kind of fit to get really fit, or someone who maybe had 5 or 10 pounds to lose. I didn't see a lot of people my size doing that program. And so when I heard him talk about he had lost a whole bunch of weight using that program, I thought, wow, that's interesting. And I remember the night, and again, I kind of put off getting started. I remember the night I was sitting at home and I was thumbing through a parent magazine. I had just had my second baby. She was 2 months old, and I ran across a statistic, and that statistic talked about that children with one overweight parent was twice as likely to be overweight, and any children with 2 overweight parents were like 240% more likely to be overweight. And I had always swore that no matter what, my kids were not going to be overweight. My decisions were my decisions, but I wanted them healthy. And so when I read that statistic, I thought, wow. And it just broke me. I sat there and I just sobbed, and I thought, this is ridiculous. Because at this point, I was making a selfish decision that was not only going to impact my life, but that was going to impact my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids. And at that point, I said, that's it. I'm done. So I contacted my coach. He wasn't my coach at the time. I contacted my friend Tommy, and that following Monday, I got started with P90X. And you know, that first workout, I got to tell you, if you've ever done P90X, you know it does not play around. I remember making it about 17, 18 minutes in, and I felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest. And I remember Tony saying, do your best and forget the rest. And I thought, that's all I'm going to do is do my best. And that's what I did. My first round, I lost 38 pounds. My second round, 45 pounds. I lost my first 100 pounds in 202 days. To date, I lost 161 pounds in 13 months. I went from a size 22 to a size 2. I'm in the best shape of my life. And when I got started, I didn't even know about the $100,000. It was, when I started, we called it Operation Bikini. The whole goal was just to be able to get back into a bikini. And I knew the older I got, the harder it was going to be. And I think the difference this time and all the other times before, all the diets, all the other fads, all the other books, all the other programs, was Beachbody has something pretty special. They have a proven track record to get results. And they have a system, you know, where you just have to follow directions and press play and drink this shake and plug into your challenge groups. And they have a system that works. And that was really the magic behind Beachbody. And I know that if I wouldn't have plugged into that system, that I wouldn't have had the success that I had. Because it truly is remarkable. It doesn't matter if you have 10 pounds to lose, 20 pounds to lose, 100 pounds to lose, 200 pounds to lose. You just plug somebody into this. And the only way you're going to fail is if you quit. So, yeah, that's kind of my story.
Do you mind if I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, I've done Insanity before, but the thing I found, the first 3-4 days, you're going out real hard, and then you start feeling sore, the muscles start hurting. How do you keep that motivation to keep going when you're like, okay, it hurts to get out of bed to lose that much weight?
I completely understand. The first week of doing P90X, it was like, well, first off, the next day, I remember being sore, and I was excited, right? Because I thought, if I'm going to do this workout, I want to be sore. That means I did something. But then when you're going up the stairs and your legs and your butt hurt, you're sitting down on the toilet, and you know that burn you get in your like thighs and stuff. One of the things I know about myself is if I set little goals and little rewards for myself, it helps keep me accountable. So one of the things I did in the beginning when I didn't want to work out, when I dreaded working out, when I would work out and watch the clock and watch it tick down. At the very beginning of my first round, I took something that I liked a lot, which for me, going to and getting a massage is like my biggest love language in the entire world. And so I said, okay, if I don't complete this round, it was a 90-day round. So if I don't complete this round in 90 days, then I cannot go to the spa and get a massage for an entire year. Now you can understand, for some of you guys on the call, that might be like no big deal. For me, that was like huge. So it had to be something big enough that would keep me pressing play. And then if I finished the round within 90 days, then I gave myself a reward of I got to go to the spa and get like several services. So I set up some little goals and I started talking about it. So I talked about it to my friends. I talked about it to my husband. One of the things I found that is if you set a goal and you talk about it to people, if you're involved in your challenge groups and you're posting, that kind of is a level of accountability as well. So give yourself as much accountability as you can. And for me, setting up that little reward takeaway was a really big deal, and it really proved to help me a lot.
Hey, Carmen, so how has your life changed, like before you won and now after you won?
Oh my goodness. Life does not even look the same. It's pretty incredible. You know, when you spend most of your adult life overweight, you kind of get used to living this life in this tiny little box. And I wouldn't have told you that I was living in a box, but I was. My entire life was limited in every way. I was limited by what rides I could go on. I was limited. My husband and I would go on vacation and he would want to go horseback riding. Well, I didn't want to go horseback riding. I knew that there was a weight limit and I probably couldn't get on the stinking horse. So it held me back from going on dates. When I went to the mall, there was a few stores that I could shop in. I couldn't just walk at any store and go shopping. The biggest thing that has shocked me is the freedom that has come with being in shape. I get to take my kids to an amusement park and get on the rides with them. I remember when I was morbidly obese, we went to an amusement park, and it was one of the big ones where you wait in line for an hour or two to get on the ride, and we waited, and I got up to the top, and the little contraption seatbelt thing would not buckle. And so I had to be asked to get off the ride. The whole ride is loaded. My fiance at the time's in the ride, and I had to get off the ride, exit, and walk down and wait. Talk about humiliating. And so I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about shopping. I don't have to worry about taking my kids to the playground and I can't, fit up the slide or fit down the slide. My energy level. I used to always say, gosh, I'm just so busy. I don't have time to work out. And I remember at the time, someone that was really fit said to me, well, if you start working out, you just have so much more energy and it'll make up the time. But when you're obese, you really think that's just something that fit people say to try to get you to do it. But it is, oh my goodness, it's so very true. I have so much energy. I can get twice as much done as I used to. The joy, the energy, the confidence. I would have told you I was a pretty confident person. But it is just, there is a freedom that has come with attaining this goal. And it's just been crazy. It has just been crazy. Yeah.
Has your life changed at all as a coach? Like, do you have a lot of people coming to you now asking for help?
Yeah. Funny thing was, I just started being a coach like a month ago. Isn't that crazy? I was a discount coach for a long time, but I was a stay-at-home mom and I didn't have a lot of interest in building the business. And I'm like, I'm just going to do this to lose weight. I'm going to be a coach to get the discount. And the more I learned about the company, the more I learned about the products, and I was already selling the products just by talking about them. And then I would pass them off. And I got convicted one day and I thought, wow, I just read a statistic yesterday that said 70% of Americans are now either overweight or obese. And I know that there's nobody on this planet that enjoys that. Nobody. There's not one person that started off as a little kid and said, you know what, when I get older, I would like to be overweight. Nobody wants that. And so most people are just looking for a way. And I know that way. We have that way. All of us on that call tonight have that way. And so it has just been the fire that has been in my belly since Summit, coming out of there, meeting the coaches, just being in the community with people just like you. You guys are a special bunch of people. And it's just, imagine we get to wake up and change people's lives. We get to introduce them to something that actually works. we get to introduce them to something that will change the entire direction of their life. Because my family, my kids are going to be forever changed. My kids are growing up in a fit household. My kids are strong. I mean, my goodness, my 3-year-old can do push-ups. That's incredible. Like, man, like real push-ups. He can lift like a 5-pound weight. It's kind of crazy. But they're growing up in that. That's going to be a part of their lives, which takes their chances of being obese down even further. So we're doing something that is impacting generations. So it's quite powerful.
Awesome. Who else has a question for Carmen?
Not everybody at once. No.
I got one. Hey, Carmen, this is John Tantillo. So is your husband doing things with you now? Does he work out with you?
My husband actually is the one that got me started. He bought the program, and he was better friends with my coach. And so he kind of is the one that nudged me into getting started. We actually got started together, and we did our first round together, and he kind of petered out a little bit, and then he saw me keep going. And he actually just got started right after Summit. He just got started again. And so, you know, because like he said, if I would have just kept going when you did, he's like, I could have already had my 6-pack. He's like, now you're all fit and I've got this gut back on me.
Yeah.
And so it's really great because now we've been working out again together, and, you know, it's just great. It's so much fun working out with your spouse. You get to talk about it, joke about it. You know, you get to do a little tiny smack in the middle of your workout, and it's just, it's really fun.
That's right.
Carmen, can you remind me again what all the programs did you just do P90X for a couple rounds, or
Okay.
all the programs you did?
She was saying, did you just do P90X or did you do other stuff?
Yeah, great question. My first 3 rounds were P90X, and then I only did that 3 rounds because it was what worked. I knew it worked, and so I was just trying to do something that I knew worked. So after 3 rounds of P90X, I did 1 round of P90X3. So I did P90X, 1 round of P90X3. And then I had lost a lot of my weight, and then I wanted to start toning my body because obviously losing 161 pounds, I needed some areas to be toned. So then I switched to Body Beast, and then I did Hammer and Chisel, and I also did Chalene Extreme. And yeah, those are the programs that I have done. And I've messed around with a little bit of size and T25, you know, just for something different. But yeah, those are the programs that I've completed.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Great results. Yeah.
Yeah, well, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Carmen. We'll move on to Justin then, unless you have anything else to add.
No, yeah, thanks for having me on tonight, guys.
Okay, yeah, awesome story, and you were a great speaker, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Justin, you want to take yourself off mute?
Okay.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Tell us your story.
Okay. Well, like Carmen, I've been kind of a lifelong struggle with weight. Kind of really accelerated in my teen years. You know, when I was in my upper high school years, I was in the 240s. I was about 250 probably when I graduated. My first year of college, I put on the freshman 15 at least twice. So I went from like 245 to 275 within that first year because I kind of just shut myself off from other people, which is what most people do at college. They go hang out with other people. I chose to hang out with food pretty much, and I gained a lot, and I just every year 10 to 15 pounds after that till I got up to about 360-ish for the first time, and then I had a little diabetes scare in 2010, and I got myself into a good mentality for a while and lost about 50 pounds of that pretty quickly. And then, you know, I got comfortable after that, and some circumstances happened that, you know, kind of got me back into my old habits of eating poorly again. And in 2 years' time, from 2011 to 2013, I put 50 pounds on in 2 years. So I went from 310 to 360 in that amount of time. So in the spring of 2013, I was up to 360. And I had learned a little bit before then that my wife was going to be giving birth to our first child in August of 2013. So, I tried to get myself kind of in a better mentality there. So I started losing some weight again, did pretty well for a while. And then once he was born, I kind of thought, well, I can relax for a little bit. I had people bring me all my comfort foods while I was in the hospital with him. And, the cheeseburgers, fried chicken, all the things, the comfort foods that I'd grown to love over the years. And so I started putting the weight back on and, kind of went like that for a while. And then the promise that you've heard about several times, when he was 3 or 4 months old, lying in his crib, I looked him in the eye and I said, Daddy's going to get healthy for you. And, I wish that were kind of the triumphant point of the story, but it really isn't, because every day for about 6 or 7 months, I lived a lie to him. I ate garbage. I didn't exercise. I did everything wrong for that amount of time. And over time, I just became more and more disgusted with myself. And I was at kind of the lowest point, probably mentally, that 6 or 7 months in that I had been in years, if ever. And one day I was driving and I was very fatigued, really shouldn't have been driving that particular day. And I ran through a red light, was involved in a T-bone collision that could have been far worse than it was. Luckily, the speed was low enough that I wasn't injured, nor was the other driver, but my head ended up hitting the side of the door. So if we'd been going faster, I could have had, a far worse conclusion than that. So that really kind of jolted me into consciousness. And I realized that, if that had been my legacy, that, if I had been killed in that wreck, that would have been my legacy, was that broken promise to my son. That would have been all I left him, was a lie. And, I remember when my wife brought him there to get me after the accident, it was pretty close to home. I was about 1.5 miles from where I lived at the time. I held him and I told myself, not again, not anymore. Am I going to do this? Then very shortly after that, within the next day or two, I was diving into the Michi's Ladder guidelines in the rock and body literature, and I started eating better. For a couple of months there, I was doing that, and the weight started dropping off. And then I realized my body sent me a signal: you've got to start exercising. So I remember watching the 21 Day Fix infomercial, and I convinced my wife that I've got to try this. So I got the program, and then I was looking around the message boards at the time to find a support group, and that's where I ended up finding Cory. It was the first coach I was assigned. She just, I'm sure that she meant well with everything, but she just rubbed me every which way wrong. And, we just had some personality conflicts, I believe. So I found Cory, and, he didn't push the Shakeology on me at the time. I didn't want it. Now I've come to realize just how much I do love it and how much I couldn't imagine doing anything without it at this point. But, at that time, I didn't want to have this shake pushed on me. I just wanted to try to exercise and just get healthier for my son. And, once the first round was over, I'd lost 12 pounds in the 21 days. So I knew it was working and it was going well. So I just kept going with that, did about 8 rounds of that. And then I did a round or two of 21 DFX, and then I caught a major case of exercise ADD. So I went from P90X3, Insanity Max 30, you name it. I did quite a bit of it there for a while, and just kept going. The main word that you can kind of use to summarize the journey that I've had is just perseverance. That, if you dig in, you battle every day, then, good results are going to happen. It's not been totally smooth, totally slick journey for me, but, I just kind of hung in there and fought, and, things turned out really well.
Awesome. So did you go back to the doctor? Like, did you do blood work before you started and then afterwards? And,
Well, the most recent blood work I had beforehand was from 2010. And that was when, things were looking bad. My glucose, the doctor told me, you come back again, you register this number, I'm declaring you diabetic. So I was this close to that happening. And, I got it in hand at that time, but then, I've had the blood work done recently. My total cholesterol is 141. My triglycerides are supposed to be below 150. Mine are 43. That glucose that was in the 130s, 140s at that time is now in the 70s, near 80. So, I've totally been able to turn that around. I had gotten right at about the 2013 point, I'd gotten a life insurance policy. At that time I was in the special risk category, obviously, because I was about 350 when they measured me for that. And, so after that, I was able to get retested for a different company, and I'm now able to get triple the coverage for the same amount of money because I'm in no risk class at all. Now I'm actually in one of the more special classes of pricing. So, that's another victory that has come from this journey.
Awesome. So how's your life changed,
Well, I feel, a far stronger compulsion than ever to share what I feel is a great gift from God that I've been given is, this platform to get out there and to tell people, because I live in one of the more unhealthy areas of the country. We tend to die younger than people in other areas. We tend to have a far higher rate of obesity, of tooth decay, of cancer, all these things, diabetes. I'm in a work group right now that's working on physical activity and nutrition. The diabetes rate in the adjoining county is 33%, which represents about 9,000 or 10,000 people in that county that are diabetics. There's so much work to be done, but I feel like, I just have this feeling that this is my opportunity, this is my platform to reach out to my people and to try to help them in the way that I've been blessed. I feel like to not pay that forward would be an extreme irresponsibility on my part. So I just feel compelled to get out there and to let people know. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask about what I did, how I did it. A lot of them are unfortunately very disappointed when I don't tell them that it was a pill that I took. If it were a pill, I could probably start selling those and retire next year. But unfortunately, that's not the case. It's just hard work and dedication. But, I feel like, that I'm really trying to work the business a lot more, but mainly I just want to reach out to people. And if I can, help them to find the program that's best for them, great. And if they choose not to buy something, then, I'm still going to try my best to reach out to them and help them in any way that I can.
So have you or Carmen have people that are, that are obese? Have they reached out to you and like, what is your advice to them? Like, what is your strategy,
Well, from my perspective, I've had several people reach out to me because they know that where I started, they can look at the pictures, and I've got some people I'm working with right now, a couple of clients that chose me because of that. And, I always point them toward the Michi's Ladder guidelines first, because I feel like that's a really good way to get started, that you can kind of I had to get used to eating better before I feel like I could have chosen to dive in head first into a program that, I just felt like it might have been too much of a shock to me. So I was able to kind of ease into it by starting to learn to like more foods than I did before, because basically in the past, my meals consisted of some kind of fried meat, fried potatoes, and that was probably about it. I would go entire weeks at a time without one serving of vegetables whatsoever, honestly, except for deep fried potatoes, which hardly count. So I try to, get people in the right mentality that you've got to start eating better, and that is the best place that you could possibly start.
So are you helping people with like a clean eating, like or a Michi's Ladder type group then?
I haven't really established a group yet because everyone's kind of scattered out that I've been talking to. That's something that's kind of, I'm taking it kind of one step at a time. That's probably something that I will try to get going at some point. I'm just kind of, getting used to a lot of this early on. I'm not as accustomed to people coming to me as frequently as they have since then. And, it's just kind of a new lifestyle, really, like Carmen mentioned, just kind of getting used to just, being completely different in your whole mentality of things.
Now, couldn't you also, recommend 21 Day Fix, because that's what you started with, and it gives them the portion control as well as, here's the foods that you need to eat. Essentially, they took it from Michi's Ladder, right?
I have been, I get that very quickly thereafter. I give people a little bit of time to kind of start maybe eating, and then it's, pretty quickly thereafter where I'll start talking about the 21 Day Fix. That's usually the program that I recommend, though a lot of people in the area where I am have shown a lot of interest in country heat. So I've actually had some people that have, bought that through the link that I've sent them. So, because country music is extremely popular in this part of the country. So, that's been something that, a lot of people too are willing to go to Zumba classes in the area and things like that. So that's why I chose to do Country Heat, because I am the most rhythm challenged individual on the planet, I believe. So I've been trying to work the program. I look terrible doing it, but I think that people do at least respect the fact that, at least I'm trying to give it my all with the program. So, that has, people have been responsive to that.
Awesome. So did you give yourselves like rewards and punishments, like Carmen did, to keep yourself on track?
I kind of had bought different workout shirts as I went along. When I reached different milestones, I've still got my 100-pound shirt, which is way too big for me. When I lost 100 pounds, I sleep in it now because that's about all I can do with it. So I'm doing that. And then it may be politically incorrect, but my wife had promised me a long time ago that if I lost a certain amount of weight, I could buy myself a gun, and which, in this part of the country, that's extremely popular. So I was able to do that recently, and, I got myself a pretty nice gun through that agreement that we had made. But, actually, though, since I've gotten my money, I've told some people that, before I got it, I had all these grandiose ideas of what I was going to spend it on. Now that I have it, I'm a tightwad to the extreme, that I don't want to let a dime of it go. So, it's kind of been a bit of a change in my mentality, I suppose, but maybe I'll pry loose a dollar here and there to get something else.
Well, that's awesome that you're not blowing it on things like guns and, bunkers and whatever.
Right.
So that's very cool. Who else has a question for Justin?
Yeah, I got something. Hey, Justin, this is John.
Hello, John.
It seems like one of the strongest parts of your stories, both Carmen's and Justin's, is how you not only lost a ton of weight, but you're able to keep it off. There's so many people at yo-yo or be like the Biggest Loser contestants that lose a lot of weight and then they put it all back on within a year. So it seems like the fact that you can keep your weight off permanently is a real important part of your story. And I don't know if you've thought about that or if that's part of what you shared. What do you think?
As far as the maintenance goes, that has been, a little bit difficult because I had gained back a little bit and I've kind of gotten it back off since, because, my body reacts very differently now to things that, when I got down a little bit below 200 pounds, which was the lowest I got, I could gain 6-8 pounds in a day just, easily. So I had to be very careful with that. I'm having to learn as I go. But I think a big motivator for me is just realizing how many people are looking at my story right now and feeling inspired by that, and kind of keeps me going. And, for me, I have to just continually try to push new goals out there for myself right now. A goal that I've set is I want to coach someone who is highly successful in the Beachbody Challenge, at least a monthly winner, quarterly winner. So, those kinds of things keep me going, to try to set new benchmarks and milestones for myself. I'd love to hear, maybe what Carmen's thoughts are on her maintenance, because I'm kind of trying to learn that as I go as well. But, overall, it's just that I just feel this continual fire right now within me to just, not go back, because I remember what the old habits are like. And, pretty much, for lack of better words, I was a food addict. And, I know that if I slip back at all, then I could be 360 pounds again in a very short amount of time.
So, Carmen, what are you doing for your maintenance now? Because now you don't have that $100,000 to motivate you to stick to the diet. So what are you guys doing?
Pretty much, when I first started working out, it was kind of funny. And I try to remember this sometimes when I'm getting somebody started. I was the person who was just going to get started, lose the weight, and then I was done. To me, working out every day for the rest of my life sounded like a prison sentence when I first got started. In fact, those words came out of my mouth. My husband was the one that was like, I'm going to work out every day forever. Why stop? And it took me to get to about 9 or 10 months of working out every day before I finally started liking it, where I wasn't watching the clock tick down. And for me, a big part of my success has just been really like 80-20. me personally, if I were to be extreme all the time, that would not be a lifestyle that I could maintain. And I would probably fall off the bandwagon and cheat and binge and all that stuff. So for me, it's really just been, I eat clean 80% of the time. But I plan, like if I'm going on a date night with my husband, I plan that, hey, tonight I can go ahead and, or maybe I'm going to take the kids out for ice cream tonight. So it's really just a balance is what my key has been, is again, not being all hardcore, not being all extreme, not having these high highs and these low lows, but just kind of being, just right there, 80-20. And it's just worked perfectly. I pretty much stay within a 3-pound window. And it's just coming up on a year where I've kept everything off and been at this size. And but yeah, for me, it's just not been extreme. I still drink a diet soda on occasion. I know that's like cussing sometimes. But, again, for me, it's about 80-20. It's about still living life, enjoying life with my kids. And yeah.
Cool. So if, someone's on the call or someone watches the recording of this call and they are interested in, going for that $100,000 prize, maybe their before picture was a lot bigger than they are now, but they still have a ways to go. Like, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Me or Justin?
Either one. You can go first.
Okay. I would just tell them to keep going. You're gonna, every day is not a perfect day. And I know sometimes when you watch people's stories, it shows you all the highlights and you get to see all the rah-rahs and the yay-yays. But that's not realistic. You're human, and give yourself grace. But don't let one setback set you back. Like if you have a bad day or you make a bad choice, that's okay. You have the ability the very next day or that same day later on to make a good choice. And I will tell you guys, the only way you're going to fail is if you quit. If you just keep going and you just keep going and you just keep going and you keep pressing play and we're all works in progress, right? None of us are perfect. So just keep going, and your journey is your own. So don't compare yourself to Justin, or don't compare your story to me or to someone else that you saw online, because your journey is your journey. And your journey is going to inspire a whole different set of people that my story doesn't inspire. So just keep that in mind and just keep going.
Justin, you have anything to add there?
I would definitely echo a lot of what Carmen just said, and I would kind of say to that too, you've got to learn kind of to love yourself wherever you are in your journey. I've kind of come up with maybe a little bit of a catchphrase I'm going to use a bit at some of the Super Saturday events, that I'm saying, don't chase happiness, choose it. You've got to be happy wherever you are. That was something that, I've kind of struggled with for a while. I've kind of come to grips with is, I had all these things I would say, I'll be happy when this happens. When I get to this point, I'll be happy. And that's probably the most miserable, some of the most miserable times that I've had during my journey were when, I was thinking I'll be happy when I got down to the 196 pounds, the lowest that I got, I thought, I want to get to 180, which would represent a 50% weight loss for me. But, I don't have a 180 pound frame. I've learned to accept that. I probably could get there, but could I do it in a healthy manner? Probably not. So, just had to come to grips with that. So, just learn to be happy where you are. And as Carmen said, don't be comparing yourself to other people, because everyone's circumstances are different and we all have our challenges. We all have our advantages. So we just have to be comparing ourselves to where we were and where we want to be. And, you just have to hang in there, persevere each and every day. It's a long, long journey. I would tell them, read The Tortoise and the Hare, because, there are a lot of hares out there in this world who try to say, do this and you'll get there quickly. It's not about quickly. It's slow and steady progress is the only way, I think, to truly get lasting results.
Awesome. Yeah, great advice. All right. Hey, Cory, you there?
Yes.
Okay, so Cory is Justin's coach. So tell us about, how you met Justin. How did you go about coaching him? How did you not push him away? And, did he ever come to you for advice, or did you have to check in on him, or did he just do his own thing? What'd you do?
Okay, so like Justin said, I was on the message boards looking for a support group, and I am known to frequent the message boards a lot. And he found me on there, and I personally messaged him, let him know that, I'd love to support him on his journey. And he accepted, told me about how his coach and him didn't jive very well. And so he switched to me, and I immediately brought him over to Facebook, which is where I know everybody does their challenge groups. So I brought him over to Facebook, put him in my challenge group. He had straight up told me, like he said, he's not going to do Shakeology. So I didn't push him, didn't talk to him about it. That is one thing as a coach that everybody needs to understand. Don't give up on somebody just because they don't want to be on Shakeology, because eventually they will either want it or they won't. But look at what happened with Justin. I mean, I could have very easily said, well, I'm not going to make money off this guy. This guy's just, going to milk me for information and I could just move on. No, that's not what Beachbody's about, and that's not what coaching is about. So everybody needs to understand that. Support your challenger no matter what. So I put him in my support group. I worked with him. Being a coach of someone like Justin was very easy. He already had the motivation. He already had the commitment. I tell him all the time, he gets all the credit. I don't get none, in my opinion. I was just there being his biggest supporter, his biggest cheerleader, someone that he could lean on at all times. He did come to me, when he was having a rough time, and I would always try to pick him back up, give him a shoulder to lean on from time to time. We all need that. One of my biggest things with my challengers is I always try to instill belief in them and let them know that, as long as they commit, as long as they stay consistent and just try, like Tony Horton said, do your best, forget the rest, right, Carmen? If you just do that, you will succeed. And that's one of the things I did with Justin a lot, is whenever he got down, I tried to pick him back up, and I was just his biggest cheerleader. And funny story, last year at Summit 2015, I filmed the Beachbody Challenge winner. And I filmed it, and instantly right after it was done, I messaged it to Justin, and I said, "You're next." I always had this feeling that he was going to be up on that stage, and I don't know what it was, but I always had that feeling, and I always believed it in my heart, and I made him believe it too. So, I mean, that's pretty much mine and Justin's story. He was very easy to coach, though. I mean, he already made up his mind. He just needed somebody just to be there for him, and that's what Beachbody's all about. So that's what we do as coaches.
Yeah, yep, that's awesome. All right, anybody have any questions for Cory?
I've got one.
Okay.
Maybe it's just because I'm a very new coach. What do you tell these people when they're at that day, like, I've got so much to do, how do I find time to get my workout in today? Do I give up sleep, or what do I do? What do you tell them at that point?
That's a tough one. I just tell them that I'm not a pushy coach, so I'm not going to give them crap for saying they're making an excuse. I'm not going to tell them they're making an excuse. Usually what I do is I give them advice for the future. So I say, this is what I do. I personally wake up, drink my Shakeology, and get my workout done first thing in the morning, so there's no excuses later not to do it. So I just try to set them up, give them a way of getting it done so that they don't have that excuse later. And then they usually don't come back to me with that question ever again, because it's a simple solution. If you just wake up, get it done, get it knocked out, your day is set for the rest of the day. I always tell them they'll have more energy, they'll feel better, their day will go smoother. They're more clear-minded. It's just a win-win both ways. So that's the advice I usually give, and it's usually worked.
Hey,
That's not a bad idea. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Cory, this is John. I got a question for you too.
Yeah.
Hey, so what percentage of your business would you say originates on the message boards now, and how has that changed over the last few years?
I would say my first year and a half, it was 90% of my business. And I would say the last year and a half, it's probably about 20%.
And is that because the boards have just gotten so diluted with coaches? The ratio of coaches to customers has really switched over the last few years?
I think there's maybe it's not so much the ratio. I think for one, obviously the admins on there are cracking down on everything coach. So that makes it tough on us. Challengers can't ask for coaches anymore, which sucks for them because there is a lot of coaches that are inactive or that don't care or that are pushy. Right. You know,
one thing I think has happened is that in all the new programs, Beachbody doesn't have that commercial anymore at the beginning that says, log on to beachbody.com and get your coach and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All the early programs had that, and it drove a lot of people like me. I went to the message boards because I saw that when I was a customer, and they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I think I think some of it too is coaches on there, like a lot of newer coaches honestly don't understand what they're doing yet. So it's like a Shark Tank in there. Like everybody is just like, let me be your coach, let me be your coach, let me be your coach all the time. And that has ruined it for the good people that are actually on there.
Yeah.
And I think that's most of the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, anything else? Any questions for anybody before we wrap up? I guess the dog has a question.
My dog has a question.
All right. Well, thank you, Corey and Justin and Carmen. You guys are great, and I think it's amazing what Justin and Carmen did, and Corey, you did an awesome job, obviously, of coaching. I mean, it's not easy to get somebody to that point. I mean, I've had so many people that are, extremely overweight, but keeping them, motivated. There's only so much we can do as coaches, and it's
Greg, if I might for a moment, you need to emphasize maybe as coaches to your challengers that maybe express an interest in going farther in the challenge and, going farther with this is that it's a very lengthy process, for me to get from start to the Beachbody Challenge stage, that finalist stage was, a 2-year journey. And it was a year journey from when I knew I was going to be eligible to win. But it was almost a year from my quarterly win to my finals win. So, it took that amount of time to just dig in there. You got to go out there, you got to encourage your people to start networking with people because, to get quarterly, you have to have a large voting block. To get into the finals to win that, you have to have a large voting block. So you need to start getting out there and networking with different people that you can find, as many allies as you can get. And, I will say this, Corey didn't mention this, but I will say that, he spent a lot of that 2 weeks time during the finals vote that he kind of had to sacrifice his own business a lot in order to get the word out there on my behalf. And, obviously it paid off for him, but that was a big gamble that he took right there to let his own business slip there for a bit. But, that's one of the sacrifices that you might have to make as a coach in order to get your challenger that far. Because, he was emailing people, he was doing a raffle for an Amazon gift card, and, he had kind of an overwhelming task, I think, once the votes all rolled in, trying to choose the winner for that. And, I didn't envy him that task, but, those things that, all kind of came together to make it, a very special process. But people need to understand, the coach and challenger need to understand that this is going to be a very trying process. You're going to both have to have a tremendous amount of patience through this and perseverance. But if you hang in there, you just might get to hug your coach as the challenge winner at the end of the day. So, and as long as you believe that, if you stop believing that, it's not going to happen. And that's probably one of the biggest contributions that Corey made to me, was he refused to ever let me believe that I couldn't win, because I dismissed it the first time he told me. I was thinking, that's ridiculous. It was not on my radar, but as we went along, he just kept refusing to let me believe that I was going to do anything other than win.
And I also know that your story is a huge part of it as well. I know that there are people that have amazing transformations. Like if you just lost 160 pounds or whatever, but you didn't have that amazing story to go along with it, you probably wouldn't have won, right? You probably wouldn't have made it that far.
Actually, funny enough, I submitted my results like the month before, or maybe 2 months before I got picked, and I had like really, half-hearted answers on there, just a couple of sentence answers. So I went back and I thought, said with these results, I'm going to have to give them a little more of a story to work with. And once I reworked the story, then that's when it really sent me up to the next level. So that's as important or more than the pictures. You have to have those wow pictures, the wow results, but if you don't have a wow story, then Beachbody has nothing to sell. So they have to have the story and the results combined in order to make that sale, to get that story out there, to be something people want to hear. Because we just said, yeah, I wanted to lose weight, and I did. That's not going to get you anywhere. You got to have the background there. You got to make people feel what you felt and feel that they can through that. So that's a very important point that, when my answers sucked, then, I had no chance at that. So I had to go back and make that change as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you guys again for being on the call. We'll go ahead and wrap up. And I have a great night, everyone. All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Thank you. All right. Thanks a lot.